2004 Toyota Corolla, I'm going to replace the front wheel bearing. Bearing is located over here. As you listen the sound for this car, and the sound is not good, so I'm going to replace the bearing, the front bearing especially. So here is the procedure how to replace the front bearing. To open up the hub of the wheel, what we have to do is, because the bearing is inside the hub as you know, so we have to remove the hub, and for this purpose we have to remove this nut and also these 4 nuts which are tightening up the wheel with the hub, and this nut is on the axle as you can see, so the axle is must to be removed inside and hub may come out. So for this purpose what we will have to do is, if you see here downside, this has been pressed, this nut has been pressed against this cavity which is in the axle, so we will have to pry it up like this using some tool and hammer, and of course in my hand there is a punch, and here is a screwdriver, the flat screwdriver which we can do hammering on. So we will have to pry it and then we will open up this nut. So here we are going to put our screwdriver in and then making a little bit hammering by this way to pull this up, because if we will not pull it up, it will ruin the thread over here. This will be down and it will round on the thread and it will ruin the thread. That is what we don't want. So I'm going to pull this up a little bit, whatsoever I could do. So this is pulled up, and then what I have to do is I have to put a 30mm ring spanner. As you can see, this is fitting on properly on the nut, and then afterwards I have to hammer this. I will hold it and then hammer it over here. So it broke down like this, and now easy to rotate. Even my hand also I'm able to rotate it. So by this way I will remove this nut. So by this way I have to remove this nut and all these 4 nuts. I have to remove these also, so that I will be able to remove the tire from the wheel. So I'll remove and put it off the tire, make it in the side, and then afterwards I have to lift the vehicle a little bit and then put the standing jack underneath. So just put on the standing jack under the vehicle, you can see, and here is after the wheel removed. So what I have to do is I have to remove this whole brake assembly and this disc also, the brake rotor of course I have to remove, and then we'll remove the other components. I will have to show you then afterwards. For this purpose I need a 17mm, because over here you can see this nut, this bolt, and underneath here in this area here is another bolt, this one of course, this one. So these 2 I have to remove, so that I will be able to remove this brake caliper along with the brakes, everything, and then afterwards I will remove of course the disc also along with this will come off, and then the other rest of the components I will have to show you. We have to remove this plate also. This is fixed by 3 10mm bolts, so we have to remove these bolts. I already lose them, so that the reason for this removal is we will have to remove this so that it will not come in our way while removing things. So next thing is we have to remove this 17mm And of course we have to remove this locking pin. You can see here is the locking pin. First we have to remove this locking pin, put it down, and then afterwards we will, using by some 17mm ring spanner, have to make it loose. Here is my 17mm, and by this way it was very easy to come off. Made it loose and removed, and then afterwards what I have to do is I have to remove these two bolts, nut and bolts. You can see, so they are 19mm. I have to use two 19mm spanners because there is a nut and bolt. With one it cannot be possible, it needs two. So I will have to remove this, and it is way tight. The reason is normally we are keeping too much tight. Last time while I worked on brake, I made it too much tight. So by this way I have to remove the other one also. So by this way I have to remove both. Put them inside, and then have to remove this from strut, the wheel hub, by this way, and then push on the bearing or push on the axle. As you can see here, I have to push on the axle so that I will be able to pry the axle out. Even it is not needed, afterwards we will do it. First what we have to do is have to remove this nut, of course 19mm, and there is of course a pin over here. You can see the safety pin is there. I have to show you the close up. Here is this quarter pin. I have to remove first using my pliers. Make it straight. By this way I have to pry it out. I made it pry it out. Now using the 19mm ring spanner, I have to open this by this way using my hammer. So now it's loose. So it's off now. You can see I have to hammer over here on this location, this. So it's actually what it will do is, if I will hammer over here, it will pry it off because there is a bevel shape inside. So I am going to hammer it this way. So this was the way, brought it off. And here is the bearing. Here after the hub removal, here is the bearing. You can see this bearing we are going to remove. So for this purpose, here is a C-ring, C-lock. We are going to remove this C-lock. So for this we are using our snap ring remover kit is here. This one is appropriate for the job. We are going to use by this way. Have to hold it. So by this way I have to remove it. I'll work on each and every side. So removed like this, and then what I have to do is I have to hammer it with a socket. I will look for appropriate number size of socket. This is small, so this one is a proper size 30 millimeter. So 30 millimeter I have to put and then hammer it. I will have to grab it in some proper place, something like this. I don't have a grip here, so by this way, and then make it hammer over here. So by this way you can see this part removed, but the problem with this is you can see there is a lubrication inside, and then here is the inner race of the bearing. Here is the inner race of the bearing which is along with this part, so we will have to remove this inner race. For this purpose we will try to remove it by puller or some way. We will use some mean to remove this one, because in the bearing that part will be in the new one. So here is the other side which is needed to be removed. So here we are holding it and remove it by some pipe or something. So here is the old bearing remove, you can see, using this pipe. So we will fix the same with the same pipe. This is of the size of the bearing, so we will fix the new bearing with the help of this pipe. Here is the hub assembly with a new bearing in. You can see I just put a new bearing in, and these bolts just come off due to too much hitting, too much hammering, because this was not an easy job to remove the bearing and put a new bearing. As you can see, this is what is the outer race of the bearing, the older bearing, and this is the inner race of the bearing which was on the shaft. So we cut it with the gas gas torch. We cut it, and this side also we removed it, and you can see the face, the shape of the outer race, the color it changed. This is due to the heat, the temperature which we provided to the hub, and then we removed it by hammering. And the new bearing, I just put it, the new bearing went very easily, because this was chilled cold, and the hub was very much hot, too much hot, so the bearing fit very easily, but afterwards it was giving too much trouble. So the snap ring, I'm going to fix the snap lock here. As you can see, some good place. I will have to see for this one. I think better I have to fix it over here. So first I have to hold it in and then place it over there in its location. So by this way, and then afterwards I have to hammer it a little bit using my screwdriver. So now you can see it's in properly. So this is what our assembly, and I will assemble this whole thing on the car, but I will not show you. This is the exact reverse process of the disassembly. So hopefully this will work for you, and thank you for watching. Keep on watching.